morning and welcome to Muddy River Mornings. I'm Bob Gough.
And I'm Brittany Boll.
We have a lot of great stuff on the show today, but we've also got a lot of great stuff right here.
It's delicious. You can smell it. It's making me hungry. First thing in the morning, breakfast.
There were 4 pieces of bacon
There
here
was
at
not.
one time, and
No.
now there's one left, and I
Okay.
still don't get that one either.
He's joking. But what the folks at Crazy Cakes want you to know is that catering is always available. Now they do different styles of catering. Right here we have the lunch box.
Lunch.
It's a box lunch, exactly. And if you notice, they will label what is on or inside because different people decide to order different things.
And this is a rosy chicken made with love for Muddy River News.
Aww.
That's sweet.
So with these box lunches, those are available for small groups, small catering groups. And if you have a larger group, say like a luncheon or a lesson and learn, they do actual catering where they can bring a server there to serve your food. And they'll do hot plates like breakfast, or you could do hot plates like lunch. Make sure you call them for all your catering needs.
And if Brittany is attending your meeting, they will bring extra bacon.
Yes.
Try not to eat that last piece before we're done here.
No promises.
Okay.
I didn't eat all this bacon before.
Really did. So, we've had a lot of big news this week on the website. One of the things that was discussed was the Jackson Lincoln Pool, and the folks that run that non-for-profit group are asking for some assistance because they need a little bit of extra funding if they want to stay open through the entire season.
It is a non-for-profit too. We saw
Yes.
a lot of comments on there where people didn't understand that.
It is not controlled by the Park District. It is not controlled by the city. It is a non-for-profit organization that has operated that pool from the get-go. Now, it used to be the YMCA would help them out and provide lifeguards. Well, the YMCA doesn't have a pool anymore, so we don't do that anymore. But anyway, so we'll have some more from that from the folks at Jackson Lincoln on next week's one of the Daily Muddies next week.
Yes, next Tuesday.
Quincy City Council busy as always. The sports complex is a go, and sounds like members are already clamoring to jump onto that. And also another solar farm bites the dust.
Yes, so we heard that story. I still don't think it's dead yet, but we might hear from it later. We also heard from everyone about their taxes on that city council meeting. Jeff Bergman broke it down, and we will be breaking it down a little later with Adams County Treasurer Bryden Corey.
The Hannibal Council has decided they want to hold the events they have downtown accountable for their trash and their parking. Aspen Ginnenbacher covered that for us. And, of course, you can go and read that story on Muddy River News as well.
Coming up next, we'll hear from our sponsors. And as always, Muddy River Mornings is driven by Hess Auto Agency.
Since 1985, Hess Auto Agency has been your trusted source for pre-owned vehicles in the tri-state area. Families have experienced the Hess difference for generations and know they'll get the best vehicle buying experience in our region. With an ever-changing inventory, you'll find the right car at the right price. So when you want the best, don't guess. Choose Hess. Hess Auto Agency, 1124 North 24th in Quincy.
Muddy River Engraving has been fantastic to work with, especially when I need something last minute, quickly. Andrew has just been fantastic to get me everything I need in a very quick, effective manner.
We work in a fast-paced industry, so for us, the fact that he personally delivers to it, that's one of the best things, and always comes through ahead of schedule.
What do I love about Muddy River Engraving? I love that Andrew supports the businesses that work with him. We'll see him in here almost every week, and that's nice that two people are helping each other out, pushing each other's product.
Hello, I'm Dr. Bradley Holland, a urologist at Blessing Health System. As many as 50 million men in the United States have erectile dysfunction, or ED. Many of these men hope ED medications will help, but pills are not the answer for everyone. In those cases, men may not know there are other options for them and be too embarrassed to ask. Don't be. There is care beyond ED pills, and you can find those longer-term options at the Blessing Health Urology Department. I'm the only urologist in the region who specializes in the inflatable penile prosthesis, or IPP procedure. It is the gold standard of ED care for men who have found no help with pills or other types of treatments. IPP has a satisfaction rate as high as 90%. For more about the range of ED care available from Blessing Urology, go to the website on your screen.
Women are exceptional. In the workplace, in the home, in the community, we fill so many roles vital not only to our success, but also the success of those around us. We deserve health care that is as exceptional as we are. Blessing Health meets the varied needs of every woman, from OB/GYN care and breast health to pediatrics for those of us who have little ones in our life. Blessing Health, with you every step of the way.
In the American legal system, attorneys counsel and represent the people for a better way of life. The law firm of Rober and Phillips are there for you.
Nick, I hear a lot about this new Cannabis Control Act. How is that going to impact me transporting the marijuana in my car that I purchase at one of these dispensaries in town?
Well, Teller, that's an excellent question about transporting cannabis in your vehicle. With the new law regarding recreational use of marijuana, people tend to think that I can just carry marijuana in my car. Actually, it's not true. Under the Motor Vehicle Code in Illinois, it is required that you have your cannabis in a locked, inaccessible, odor-proof, child-resistant container. It also can't be used while operating a motor vehicle, obviously. In the event that you're pulled over by the police and the police come to your window and they smell the odor of what we would call raw or unburnt cannabis, that may be probable cause to search your vehicle further. If a police officer approaches your vehicle and smells the odor of burnt cannabis, oddly, that alone is not probable cause to search your vehicle. The best thing to do is to make sure that there is no odor of marijuana coming from your vehicle at any time.
For more information, contact the law firm of Rober and Phillips.
Welcome back. Again, we want to thank Hess Auto Agency for being our lead sponsor here, but also we have other great sponsors, including Muddy River Engraving, Blessing Hospital, and our friends at Rober and Phillips. Now, we are under the impression that they have a video at some point that we're going to show you about their haunted office.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, we'll bring that out for you here in a little later on down the road. But we talked about taxes earlier. And Brittany had a conversation with Bryden Corey, who is the Adams County Treasurer. He is not the guy who puts together the taxes, but he's the one who sends them out to you. He gathers the information, so he is not the one to blame about your high tax bill. Here's Brittany's chat with Bryden Corey.
Most of you opened your tax bills earlier this week in the mail and probably saw this guy's name on the top of the bill. Thank you, Bryden Corey, for joining me today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
And as we said before, we were talking a little bit before this, and you can't shoot the messenger. He's just doing his job. And you're doing a little extra by explaining this all. So thank you once again for being here.
Sure.
Okay, so it was a sticker shock, I think, for most. The first, I guess, common question would be, why did everyone's property taxes raise?
Well, again, that's not anything I have any involvement in. I can tell you that is part of the assessment process. Every township in the city of Quincy has its own assessor who monitors properties within their area and assesses them or upwards or downwards as necessary, and that is basically the basis of your tax bill. So if your bill went up significantly, it's because, I guess the simplest answer I'd give is your property's value went up, which should be a good thing. Now, whether you could actually sell it for what they're assessing it at is a different, that's another question, but that's the simplest explanation I can give is your assessed value went up, so your bill goes up.
Also, I would think just in general, everything is going up.
Correct.
Does that have some play in it?
I mean, if you're talking about the price of goods and services, not really. I mean, maybe in some much larger sense, but it's not really directly tied to your property tax bill.
Okay. All right, so I opened mine up and I broke it down to, so as Bergman explained to people in the city council meeting. He broke it down. It doesn't all go into one place. It goes to a bunch of different entities, those being the county, the Quincy Township, the City of Quincy, Quincy Park District, John Wood, and then the school district for most people. For myself, I also was in the Central Business District West, which is the TIF. And I believe that's the first TIF, I think. Okay, so I'm going to let you look at this here. And then you're looking at this on your screen as well. So most of my tax bill, I guess, would be going towards TIF, you know, if we'll round up.
Well, and you're an anomaly in this situation. I mean, the vast majority of people don't live in a TIF. So and I don't even want to get into that because that's really not my area. But I would say the best way to look at this for most people is that the majority of your bill is going to go to the school district. And that's just the way that Illinois chooses to fund schools, is primarily through property taxes.
Yeah. But the majority of mine does go to the TIF. And then would that mean then that that's not going towards those other entities, obviously?
Well, as I understand it, any increase in value from the first year of the TIF goes into the TIF.
Okay.
And not into the other entities that are taxing you.
Okay, and so this TIF was created long before my house was created. So again, I'm guessing most of my tax bills have been going towards the TIF. Now I know you said like it's not your forte, but wouldn't it just be, is that being withheld, you know? Like with the problem of pensions, is this something that's good for overall Quincy? I mean, I know you said I'm an anomaly, but Rocky and Rhonda Murray were at the city council meeting, and they're my neighbors, and she showed me her tax bill, and it went up significantly. It went up way more than mine, but they did some, like you said.
Construction on the property is my understanding. Yeah, so which is going to increase your bill significantly. If you go from an unimproved lot to a two-story, 3,000 square foot residence, you will see a huge spike because that piece of property is significantly more valuable. Yeah,
I understand that. The majority of theirs too also goes to the TIF. So it's just anybody in that residential or in that TIF area that's a resident is paying the majority of that bill is going towards TIF. I guess my question is that good for overall Quincy, considering the pensions are shadowing over us?
Depends who you ask. People have different opinions. I mean, people who would say yes, that's going to be used for development to entice additional construction or employers to move to Quincy. So it's just how you do it. I mean, what's good for Quincy? Well, there's no one thing that's good for Quincy. There can be multiple things that are good. They just go about it in different ways.
Okay, so where do we see ourselves 20 years from now with this continue to rise property taxes? And like I said, the pensions. If that is where most of it gets paid from is through property taxes, where do we see ourselves 20 years from now?
That's a good question. I mean, my own bill for my home is almost doubled in 10 years. And I don't know if that's really sustainable.
That's what that's I guess the question I'm asking. Is this going to be sustainable? And we have programs among programs to help people. And right now, like some people are living on disability, a fixed income, where they can't go out and get additional income.
Well, there are programs that are, again, through the Supervisor of Assessment's office that provide relief to people in situations like that. If you're disabled, if you're a veteran, if you're a senior citizen.
Awesome. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, I'm like, what about these people stuck in...
Yeah, right. When you retire and you're on a fixed income, it would be very hard to keep up with your property taxes.
Well, we don't have the worst property taxes in the state. Do you know who does?
I wouldn't even know where to guess.
New Jersey.
Okay. That's the worst state for property taxes?
Yes. Guess where the best state is?
Well, Indiana. I used to live there. It's very good.
Is it?
Yeah, oh, yes.
That's so strange because it's right. Yeah, that's weird. It's actually Hawaii.
Okay. Also wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah, me either. I read up a little bit about this, obviously.
That seems a little unfair. You get to live in Hawaii, which is gorgeous, and your property taxes are Sounds like very reasonable.
Very
okay.
nil. There are places, a lot of places in Alaska where their property tax just doesn't exist.
Sure.
Which that I can understand
Sure, they're
because
just
you're
glad
living
to
in
have
Alaska.
somebody to live there. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much, Bryden,
Yeah,
for being
you know,
here.
I mean, there's one thing I'll just say overall about the property taxes, and people in Illinois rightfully complain about taxes. However, if you look at where all this money is going, it's all staying local, okay, with the park district and the school district and the city and the county. And I have a lot more faith in our local leaders to spend that money wisely than I would ones in Springfield or Washington. So that's, you know, some solace I can offer to people who are upset about their property taxes is at least you know where they're going and you know who is spending them once they receive those dollars. And there's accountability at the local level with elections. So you can take heart in that, if nothing else. But yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
All right.
So what'd you learn?
You know, I feel like it's still up in the air because he didn't have as much information that I wanted on the TIF district. And that's not his fault. Like he said, it's not his forte. So I would like to learn a little bit more about that and, you know, the actual impact on that for the bottom line of Quincy.
Right, because your money is going to the TIF instead of going to Quincy Public Schools or instead of going to the Park District or City County.
The majority of it is.
That's true. So we also had a very busy week of recordings here. Have you had a chance to watch Frankie and Tanner Freiberg yet?
Not yet, but I am
It's a
looking
good
forward to it.
It's a good one. I think they talk a lot about, you know, speaking of, we talked about the Sports Commission earlier. The sports complex is something that was discussed, and Tanner Freiberg actually had a really good idea that could implement this sooner and save the city millions.
Wow.
Millions.
I look forward to that.
But I'm not gonna spoil it for you. So.
Also, later on today, we will have a Club Muddy with Marcy Inman Phillips. She is Randy Phillips' boss, but she's also the Illinois birdwatcher extraordinaire is what I'll call her. She runs the Adams County, Illinois birders page. So we're going to hear about all things birds, and I'm looking forward to discussing that with her.
And we're going to do what we can to get hashtag bird nerd going locally as well.
I knew that was coming up.
Had to use it.
I knew that was coming up.
So, also this week we have 2 episodes of Muddy River News this week because they center on events that are coming up before next weekend. So we wanted to make sure we let these folks have those conversations. One of the people I like to talk with more than anybody in the world, besides Brittany, of course, is Reverend Orville Jones. And we talked about Juneteenth and the big celebration coming up. They're doing basically a 3-day celebration event coming up this weekend at the Oakley Lindsley Center, at Washington Park, and also at First Baptist Church. And then, of course, Juneteenth itself is actually on June 19th. He gives us a little history about that as well. We also talked with Angelina Chasteen and Ricky Dula with the Mississippi Valley Council of Scouting America, formerly known as the Boy Scouts. We talked a little bit about that, about how the situation, how that agency has changed over the last 6 years since they started admitting girls. And we talk about that, but we also talk about the big Sauconock reunion coming up next week. And if you've ever been out there for an event, for a Camp Callahan, if you've had kids out there, if you've been out there for weddings or parties or anything, it might be a great event to go to because Camp Sauconock, all 600 acres of it, is really something that is great for Quincy and Adams County. So be sure to check out both episodes of Muddy River News this week, both running this weekend.
Earlier this week, we dropped another edition of Muddy River Gems. Randy and Mark McDonald take you on a story to discover the Adams County Barn. So make sure to check that out. It's still up on Muddy River TV.
Minutes with the Mayor, Linda Moore, and I talked a little bit about the sports complex that I mentioned earlier, the Sports Commission, but we also talked about housing and the task force for that. So it was a very good chat with the Mayor, and we'd also like to thank Mercantile Bank for stepping aboard and becoming the sponsor for Mercantile's Minutes with the Mayor.
Also later today, we will drop the next episode of Areas of Expertise with Aspen Gingerbacher and Leah Hemming. What's that about, Bob?
Well, they talk a lot about how couples, improve intimacy, That was one thing. There were a couple of other things I'm going to tease you about, because when I was helping produce this program, it made me, again, okay, I'm a little on the immature side sometimes, so I kind of giggled. But no, that's a very important topic for the most part. I mean, again, Leah Hemming is trying to bring something sort of out of the darkness, because, again, sexual health, like mental health, like physical health, it's something that, you should deal with, or it's going to fester. So anyway, it's a really good conversation between those two women about that subject. And then speaking of other good conversations, our Sunday sit-down, we had 3 people from Lux this time to visit. They picked on Nate. Poor Nate.
Well, I mean, it's kind of easy to do that, is it not?
Poor Nate.
Then they also brought a extra special guest that you didn't get to see on camera, and I had the privilege of babysitting while they recorded. It was probably the best part of the job that day.
I aside from giving the child margaritas, I thought you did a great job.
I did not give the child margaritas.
She didn't do that, I'm kidding.
I did give her roller coaster rides, though, out in the lobby.
Yes, and she took 2 of my stress balls.
Yes.
So, but that's okay. It was anyway. Nate and Kate are fantastic, and again, we want to thank them and Lux Health and Wellness for their support of what we have going on here at Muddy River News.
Coming up next, sports with Shane Holsey, brought to you by Neiman's.
Hey there, everybody! Happy Friday to you and yours. Muddy River sports writer Shane Holsey with you once again, and spring sports have all but come to a close, but that doesn't mean there isn't plenty to cover around the area. Make sure you check out all of our Q&As with the Muddy River Showcase participants. Of course, that game coming up, or both the boys and girls games on June 21st, starting at 2 o'clock with the girls, and then 4 o'clock with the boys. So make sure you check out that game and check out all the Q&As that Shuck and I are turning out. We're trying to do a couple every day with both the Illinois boys and girls and the Missouri boys and girls, and we've learned some pretty interesting, some pretty fascinating things. And if there's one thing we've learned throughout all this is these kids in this area just have such unique, awesome stories to share, and this kind of gives us a chance to share some things that we wouldn't normally share, if we're covering a game or sometimes even doing a feature on some of these players. I mean, we're asking all kinds of interesting, sometimes random questions, but sometimes those lead to some pretty interesting answers. And we want to thank each and every one of these players for graciously giving us their time to chat about life and basketball and other sports and their interests and their hobbies and their future careers and their families and food and all these things. We've really learned some interesting things, Chuck and I have, and I'm sure you have as well, reading all the Q&As. We'll be churning those out right up until the game on June 21st, and we hope to see you out at John Wood for that game, if you can make it out, and check out our coverage on MuddyRiverSports.com. We got the city tennis tournament that weekend as well, so we'll be covering that too. So still busy here in the summertime, so make sure you check us out on the website, on X, on Facebook, all the good stuff, and we'll see you there, and we'll talk to you here next Friday.
Neiman's, your neighborhood market.
Local sports is pretty much done now as far as high schools and colleges and stuff. So we got those all taken care of. All the teams are done. They're getting ready for their travel ball or their gyms or their camps or whatever now. But it's still, all that sports action still depends on the weather. And, we're supposed to get some heat at some point here.
I'm ready for it. I'm tired of this rain. The only good thing about the rain is I don't have to water my plants.
You don't have to water your plants. You don't have to mow your yard during the rain, but the rain makes you have to mow your yard more, and apparently I have to buy a new lawnmower, so I'm real excited about that. So, but anyway, speaking of weather, here is how's the weather up there with our friends at Farm and Home Supply.
All right.
All right, ready to lighten the mood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's kind of topical since we've had the Canadian wildfires with the smoke.
Yes.
What do you call the richest kind of air?
The richest kind of air? You got me there.
A billionaire. Richest air, a billionaire. Hi, I'm taco saludologist Nathaniel Jones. This is meteorologist Brent Clare. This is how's the weather up there with your weekend forecast, and we're talking about it. We've been it's been nice weather so far from a temperature standpoint, not too sweaty, but
Monday was a little oppressive. It was kind of unusual for the past few months that you actually had to sweat a little bit and maybe have a fan going a little bit there. But then we had some nice rains come, and it's like we were really concerned because they were calling, some of the forecast models were saying like 3 to 4 inches of rain. And it's like we don't need that much rain in this short time, but it was a nice soft 2-inch rain. Although that first wave came through a little hotter than it should have or was supposed to. So, but nonetheless, a nice soaking rain. We missed most of the big stuff. A little bit to our north there, we were talking about Lee County, Iowa.
Right.
Anytime you blow a train over, that's not necessarily a good thing. So, and then saw some more damage around the Quad Cities. A couple huge grain bins taken down. It's like crazy there. And then yesterday, Wednesday, another little tornado go through St. Louis. A little drop down, pop up. Nothing too major. I don't think there was much damage to it, but just enough to, get people excited again. Because they did have a pretty good one down there a few weeks ago. So
yeah, it hit the zoo area.
Yeah. So and but we should keep all those big storms to the south for the next few days. But we are still going to stay in an active period, moving through Thursday through Sunday. What is happening is we really don't have a driving force to push everything away, so you get these ripples that come across about every other day or so. So today will kind of be dry. Tomorrow we'll see another chance of showers. Then Saturday maybe some afternoon stuff, and then Sunday just kind of these pop-ups that come along here. The good news is we look into Sunday. I think that's going to be when everything kind of pushes through. We'll get that northwest flow. We'll get some drier air in, but we should stay relatively in the upper 70s, around 80 for the most part. So I know, rain's one thing, but at least it's warm. At least it was chilly. What was it? I can't remember what day it was. I was like, good night.
Anytime if you're in late May and it's in the high 40s, it's a
well
little
that
bit
too.
odd.
Yeah.
Like, I got to turn on the furnace again rather than
No. The furnace is off. The air.
According to our poll, we had 60% of people, and we had over 150 votes in the poll.
Yeah.
Over 60% of people turned back on their furnace last week, and it was the 40s overnight.
No
so,
kidding.
yeah, a lot of people were found a little chilly.
Now, I I did turn them on my furnace, but it was because I thought it pushed the temperature down button instead.
Accidental
Pushed
turn
the
on.
wrong mode. So it's like, I came in the other day. So why is it so hot in here? I looked. I said, the furnace is on. What the?
But from a MoCast standpoint, you say with this fluctuation, are we going to have to wait until Sunday? Like, hopefully the grass isn't 2 feet high. You
Oh
have to wait until
my!
Sunday to dry out in order to
Yeah,
mow, right?
the MoCast was you should have mowed on Monday.
Yeah, which I did thankfully.
You
so
did, and I
saw
did
that
too,
coming,
and some others snuck it in on Tuesday afternoon. It's like, this is the time because we, ours, if it's going to rain that much, you ain't getting it in for a couple of days. So the MoCast is the lawn access is poor right now. So, and with other rains coming, so it may be next Monday. You could sneak one in maybe
Sunday, late Sunday.
Well, maybe we'll see. We'll see what tomorrow brings. You might want, or even later today, because I don't think we'll see much today. But we'll see some. If we get some air moving,
right,
we can dry out that. Speaking of air moving.
Yeah. So whenever we do get warmer temperatures, you're talking maybe 80 next week, so that'd be nice.
It has to happen first.
Sometime it'll happen. Maybe around July 4th. But
around the Adams County Fair. What are you talking about? It's always anyway.
Speaking of fair though, this thing might be good for fair. So
that's exactly what I was thinking.
Moving.
That's exactly what I was thinking because I camp and I'm part of livestock. And sometimes you just need something like this. This looks really neat. Of course, it is Milwaukee because you have to have the batteries,
Yep.
But that's okay. That's okay. But a
So
nice
this
thing
is
there.
dual powered. So
Oh,
it runs,
it is dual powered.
You can
Okay,
plug it in
awesome.
if you want to, or it runs off an M18 battery, so it's portable.
Even better.
So there are some from DeWalt, Milwaukee already that were 10 or maybe even 12-inch fans.
Mm-hmm.
May not move a ton of air, but this is an 18-inch fan that runs off a
a
battery.
lot.
Could run on high for up to 3 hours, they say. So,
Oh, that's neat.
So that would be something to take along with your camping or at the fairs, or just outside on the patio, right? You may not have access to electricity.
Well,
Put a battery on it.
crazy thing I thought of is that if you remember back in, for us it was 11. So we've had a lot of good windstorms in the area, right? For the people in the county, it was 2011 that came through. End of June, we lost power for a couple of days. Yeah, that would have been nice to have, because it was a hot one too.
Yeah.
So yeah, your power goes out, you still got a little bit of cooling going on there, so yeah. But, and of course, portable, you can take it anywhere you want to, just as long as you have some chargers. And like I said, I like the dual power aspect. That's really neat. So, yeah.
And it's got a tilt. It's almost like a drum fan, like you might use in a barn or something like that
Yeah.
at the county fair. So it's got a tilt on it. So it's pretty
That's
nice.
awesome, yeah.
So you can buy it online or at your local store. So that's new this year. So it's really cool.
Yeah, that looks like a really good sale. So yeah, make sure you check that out at Farm and Home Supply. Plus some other Milwaukees, they got some really good stuff. Now you got
Compact inflator. I don't know if you have one around the farm, but those are super helpful. If you got a low tire, pump it up real quick. It runs off a battery too. So those are super handy.
the one I've been looking for now is a light tower. So
Yep.
there's a lot of good things there. So yeah, you never know when you might have a power outage where you might need some light, you might need some fans. Now all they need to do is make a battery-powered air conditioner.
That'd take a lot of power.
Well, you'd be surprised. You put a few of those batteries in, what they could do is like just enough to just break the heat just a little bit. And that little put it right there on the side of the.
I'll send that to Milwaukee, see if they can work on something like that. A battery-powered air conditioner.
And then they need the battery-powered refrigerator, and then the battery-powered wine cooler.
You can just get a generator, plug all those things in. How about that?
I bet Milwaukee has a generator too, doesn't it? So
we have several of them, that's for sure.
That's right.
When's the last time that you lost power by chance? Did you lose any in the spring whenever the storms came through?
So as far as long term, no, it's been a while since. I won't speak badly about our competitors here, but since I am on kind of a board, so I have to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been lucky in the county. Well, I shouldn't say that. There was a couple places in Adams County that lost it several times.
Right.
But where we were at, no, we were pretty lucky. But yeah, we know that feeling, and if it was really bad, we do have a backup, that we could power up, but obviously, it's not permanent. So
yeah.
But if push comes to shove, and of course, it's just my dad and I, so we don't need a lot of comforts. If it's really hot, you get in the car, you drive around a little bit, or you find a camper and you plug it in somewhere.
Yeah. But we have been lucky, I think, this year, especially with the response time of local power crews too. If something does happen, like Camp Point, there wasn't any longer stretch than 2 or 3 hours even without power when we had the tornadoes. So it's great.
Yeah. Of course, those have been isolated spots. It's
Right.
not like it was a widespread swath. And those were your 11s, your 15s, your 19s. Man, it's 4 years. It's just about time again, isn't it? So
Don't say that.
Don't say, well, yeah. But yeah, we've been pretty lucky about having widespread outages. It's usually been localized, and it's a pole or two, and they can usually get those in about 3 hours or so. And again, between Ameren and the rural electric cooperatives, they really do a good job. So yeah, hopefully we'll stay away from the derechos. Those were, oh my. We won't even talk about that in Hancock and McDonough and those counties. That was a hard one to get through. And because it wasn't just the residential poles, it was the transmission poles.
Right.
So getting the power to the substations was the big thing about that. So we won't worry about that. We're going to have a good calm summer here, and it will warm up. It will warm up. Like I said, 4th of July.
Maybe.
We'll save all of our good weather for the 4th of July, and then everyone can enjoy their pools and boats
and fans.
And fans, yeah.
Can you garage sale in the rain?
Yeah, of course.
Really?
I mean, if you're a hardcore garage sailor.
And if your stuff's in the garage, because I'm not buying somebody's wet, stinky stuff if it's out on their patio or garage or on their driveway, right?
Yeah, I guess not.
All right. So anyway, lots of great garage sales on the website. We've got those coming in fast and furious. A couple of really nice neighborhoods having some garage sales. So you're getting a lot of good stuff out there. You can probably get pretty cheap, I would imagine. So.
Is that what you do? You circle the nice?
I don't do, no. I'm talking about for those who do that. If it's not my own neighborhood, well, I'm not going to buy anything in my own neighborhood anyway, but that's beside the point. So speaking of other fun things coming up this weekend, Saturday, farmers markets. EIO Family Farm Meats. Is that a playoff of EIEIO? Because that'd be really good.
I think so.
All right, that's some good marketing there. Also, Great River Mushrooms and Herbal, the mushrooms that you put in your food. Just making you aware of that. The Cheese People and Sweet Lady Jane's Bakery.
That's my sourdough lady.
She does a great job.
She does a great job. Hopefully good weather for them as well.
And good weather for what else?
German Fest.
Happy Lederhosen.
Way to get your Wiener Schnitzel.
And beer.
I'm looking forward to German Fest. I'm crossing my fingers for good weather. That is this weekend in South Park. On Friday, I believe it starts at 5. It goes from 5 to 11. On Saturday, it goes from 3 to 11.
One of Quincy's great events.
You could tell how excited I was when I interviewed Casey Deers on the Daily Muddy. Yeah, it was excitement.
Do you have Lederhosen?
Yeah, I guess. I don't. Are those pantyhose?
No, it's the Lederhosen. It's the shorty shorts with the suspenders and of course Randy has some.
Yeah, if I can't find mine, I'll borrow Randy's.
There you go. Also, we have another event coming up on Saturday, June 28th. That's a little later on down the road. It's also the same time as the Quincy Grand Prix, and that is going to be Dwarfinators Extreme Wrestling at the Scoreboard.
Yep. You're supposed to get your tickets now because I guess they sold out last year. How to get your tickets? You can find some links on Facebook. Scoreboard itself is not selling those tickets. It's the Extreme Dwarfinator event that is actually selling those tickets.
And we'll share some of those links for you on social media. You'll be able to see those as well. So I think the idea is that you go watch go-kart racing in South Park during the day, and then you can go hang out and watch the wrestling on Saturday night.
Yes. And to get your VIP tickets for the Quincy Grand Prix, make sure you contact Tammy Miller. I'll set up a link for that as well. Those include bathrooms, which is actually a luxury, especially in that situation. Yeah. Plus, you get great service and great drinks. Bob and I will be there on Saturday serving in the VIP tent.
Well, I think that's all the time we have for this week's show. We once again want to thank you for watching us. Again, a lot of great stuff. Summer's here, so there's lots of great stuff going on. Get off your couch. If the weather's nice, get out and have some fun, and be careful when you're having fun.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Bye.